Imagine this. You've been married for years, trusting your partner with every part of your heart. You plan a special night, an anniversary dinner meant to celebrate your love, believing it would be perfect. But what if, in the middle of that evening, the person you trusted most betrayed you in the most public way imaginable? What if they embarrassed you in front of everyone you knew, making you realize your whole life was built on lies? How would you react? In this story, I discovered just how sharp betrayal can cut, and how in the end, it wasn't the heartbreak that shaped me. It was what I did afterward. Before we step into this emotional journey, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. You won't want to miss more stories about strength, heartbreak, and rebuilding your life. Now let's get into it. It was supposed to be a night worth remembering. Our anniversary dinner. Something we had planned for months. I felt the excitement buzzing around me. I had put my heart into every detail. Reservations at her favorite place, a thoughtful gift, and a letter filled with the reasons I loved her. It should have been a night full of joy, laughter, and the promise of many more years. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened. Nothing could have prepared me for the betrayal that would tear everything apart. We arrived at the restaurant and I was on cloud 9. I thought I had everything. A loving wife, a strong bond, a life I was proud of. We sat at our table, the candlelight glowing warmly, everything feeling just right. We toasted to our years together and to the future we would keep building. For a while it seemed perfect until I saw him. At first, just a man at the bar alone. I didn't think twice. But then he walked toward us and my heart dropped. It was her ex, the one she had always spoken of with unusual fondness, saying they had remained friends. He greeted her casually and sat at our table like he belonged there. The way she smiled at him, it wasn't a smile I knew. It was softer, closer, too familiar. He joked and they laughed together. That laughter, so natural, pierced me like a blade. I tried to brush it off, telling myself I was imagining things. But then it happened. He leaned in, placed his hand on her arm, and she didn't move away. She smiled. A smile that froze my blood. At that moment, I realized this wasn't just small talk. It was more. It was betrayal right in front of me. Something inside me broke. I couldn't sit there pretending everything was fine. I excused myself, stood up and walked out. My thoughts raced. Anger, humiliation, heartbreak all crashing into me. How could she? How could she let her ex touch her, laugh with him, as if I didn't exist? How long had this been happening? I didn't know where I was going, only that I had to leave. The days after were filled with silence and pain. She called, texted, begged me to talk, but I wasn't ready. She didn't need to explain. I had seen it with my own eyes. When we finally met, she tried to justify herself. She said it wasn't what it looked like, that she didn't mean to hurt me, that it was just an innocent reunion. But in my heart I knew. It didn't matter how many tears she cried. She had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. I looked at her, felt the weight in my chest and calmly said, "I can't do this anymore. You humiliated me in public, and there's no way back." She pleaded for forgiveness, swore it would never happen again, but I was done. Filed for divorce. The months that followed were some of the hardest of my life. I was drowning in emotions. Anger, sadness, confusion. At times I wondered if I'd made the right decision. Times I missed the person I thought she was. But slowly, something began to change. I started rebuilding. I buried myself in work, rediscovered hobbies I had forgotten, and went to therapy to untangle the pain. Little by little I began to heal. I realized the betrayal wasn't a reflection of me, but of her choices. It wasn't my fault. Over time I grew stronger, more resilient. I found my passions again, built new friendships, and even started dating. And the biggest lesson hit me. I didn't need anyone to complete me. I was enough, all on my own. Later she tried to reach out, asking for another chance. But by then I had moved on. I had built a life stronger than before. I had learned a lesson I would carry forever. Trust is sacred. Once it's broken, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. But betrayal doesn't define you, your response does. Take the pain and turn it into power. Walking away from a marriage that no longer served me was the hardest decision of my life, but also the most empowering. I rose again not because I had someone beside me but because I had myself. And that was enough. If you've ever faced betrayal, you know how painful it is to walk away. But remember, it's never too late to rebuild. Never accept less than you deserve. You are worthy of love, respect, and loyalty. If you've been through something similar, share your story in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories of strength, resilience, and starting over. Thanks for watching. Stay strong and never settle for less than you deserve.